Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Phyllis is not okay. Her son's wife was murdered, and then the redhead was kidnapped, held captive and nearly died. Now, life is piling on. Young and restless is steering Red toward a mammoth meltdown that will have repercussions for not one, but two couples in Genoa City. Phyllis was devastated when Daniel's longtime love, Heather, was murdered in their apartment. But what really dialed up Phyllis' stress was her son being framed for the homicide. If that wasn't bad enough, she suspected her longtime nemesis was responsible for all of it, and she wasn't wrong. Although it turned out Sharon was being drugged and didn't kill Heather, she did dump her body in the river and frame Daniel. Despite the extenuating circumstances, Phyllis' hostility toward Sharon remained. So, it was extra aggravating to find herself kidnapped and locked up in an abandoned psychiatric clinic with the blonde. Although part of their captivity involved working through their issues with each other, Sharon and Phyllis were traumatized anew by the entire experience, given they were tortured like lab rats, and came this close to losing their lives before being rescued. While Sharon might have been the most likely candidate to come out of it all with major mental strain, instead it's been Phyllis who has visibly struggled. In what appears to be the lastest in an increasingly long line of mental health-themed plots, Phyllis appears to be grappling with a bad case of PTSD given that she's triggered by any interaction that makes her feel like the aforementioned lab rat. And things are only going to get worse. When Phyllis proved herself incapable of focusing on work because of her obsession with helping Daniel, Billy cut her from his hypothetical company, Abbott Communications. Then Daniel pushed her away, and asked for space. This left her alone and fending off a panic attack in the park. What Phyllis doesn't know is that life is about to deal her yet another blow when her daughter Summer decides to leave Genoa City. If you thought Phyllis might be headed for a nervous breakdown before, you can bet that Summer's departure will hurry things along. What will the fallout be? Well, it's not looking good on two fronts. Nick and Sharon will soon return from their trip to London to visit Noah, and whether they've reunited off-screen remains to be seen. But given how they were dancing around the idea of getting back together before they left, it's a definite possibility. However, if they arrive home to Phyllis having a breakdown, it's going to throw a monkey wrench into the works. Rather than focusing on romance, they'll be catapulted into a scenario where one or both of them need to support the redhead. Despite their newly forged truce, Sharon is sure to be none too pleased if Nick throws himself into his customary hero role for Phyllis. Billy, meanwhile, is still openly struggling with guilt over firing Phyllis. Despite doing the best thing for his company, it clearly didn't sit well in his conscience. Should Phyllis have a full-blown nervous breakdown, the guy is going to feel terrible and will feel obligated to be there for her. As one might imagine, Sally will not be a fan of this, particularly given she has been telling him he has no reason to be guilt-ridden. Should he insist on riding to Phyllis' rescue, it may not only impinge on his relationship with Sally, but pivot her away from accepting his offer to come and work with him. Phyllis is absolutely headed for a mammoth meltdown, and the only question that remains is who will help pick up the pieces and what will the fallout be for that knight in shining armor. Genoa City, a storm named Phyllis. There are earthquakes, there are tsunamis, and then there's Phyllis Summers on the brink. This week in The Young and the Restless, the red-haired firecracker with a flair for chaos barrels toward a meltdown so monumental it threatens not just her own fragile world, but the emotional stability of two couples standing precariously in her path. After months of scheming, lying, and desperately trying to rewrite her mistakes, Phyllis is finally cornered, emotionally, mentally, and romantically. She's burning bridges faster than she can rebuild them, and the inferno is about to consume everything, and everyone, she claims to love. Let's set the stage. The House of Cards. Phyllis has always been many things: brilliant, manipulative, fearless. But lately, she's also been spiraling. Ever since her botched attempt to frame Diane Jenkins unraveled, a move that cost her relationships, her job, and nearly her freedom, she's been trying to piece herself back together. But redemption doesn't come easy in Genoa City, especially not when the ghosts of her past are still very much alive, and whispering. Despite a brief ceasefire, Phyllis's reconciliation attempts with her children have been rocky at best. Summer is suspicious. Daniel is weary. They've been here before, watching their mother try to change, only to fall back into the old, destructive patterns. And while Phyllis insists she's turned a corner, her recent behavior suggests otherwise. The tension thickens when Phyllis is spotted having secret meetings with none other than Jeremy Stark's old contact, a man who may or may not be planning something sinister. It's just business, she tells anyone who asks. But in Genoa City, just business is always a prelude to drama. The first relationship in jeopardy, Nick and Sharon. Nick Newman, ever the reluctant knight in shining armor, has always had a soft spot for Phyllis. Their history is messy, passionate but volatile. Recently, they've shared more than a few intense conversations that seem to teeter on the edge of nostalgia and regret. It's a dangerous place for Nick, especially now that things have been heating up once again between him and Sharon. Sharon and Nick's connection is built on decades of shared history, mutual respect, and the kind of love that doesn't fade with time. But that doesn't mean it's unbreakable. Enter Phyllis, uninvited but ever present. One night, during a particularly vulnerable moment, Phyllis arrives at Nick's place after yet another confrontation with Summer. She's raw, she's unraveling, and she does what Phyllis always does, she confesses. Not just her regrets, but also her lingering feelings. The chemistry between them flares, like dry kindling to a match. Nick, true to form, doesn't act, but he doesn't shut the door either. Unfortunately, Sharon sees them together. The look in her eyes says it all. History might not be repeating itself, yet. But the storm clouds are forming, and Sharon knows better than to underestimate Phyllis's power to pull Nick back into her orbit. Later, when Sharon confronts Nick, he deflects. He tells her nothing happened. And maybe, technically, it didn't. But betrayal doesn't always require a kiss, sometimes, it's just in the longing look, the hesitation, the unspoken what if. Relationship number 2, Summer and Chance. The more unexpected fallout, however, is between Summer Newman and Chance Chancellor, two people who have been growing closer in recent months. Their friendship has been refreshing, even sweet. After everything Summer went through with Kyle and his ongoing codependency with Audra Charles, Chance has been a grounding force. Steady, supportive. But Summer's growing frustration with Phyllis is driving a wedge between them. Chance, who knows all too well the destructive impact of toxic relationships, urges Summer to set boundaries. You can't keep enabling her, he warns, after finding out Phyllis has been involved in another shady deal. She's dragging you down with her. But Summer isn't ready to let go of her mother. Not yet. Their latest fight leaves Summer in tears. She feels torn, between the man she's starting to trust, and the mother she's always tried to save. When Phyllis finds out that Chance is judging her again, she loses it. In a moment of classic Phyllis fury, she confronts Chance in the middle of Crimson Lights, accusing him of trying to turn her daughter against her. What are you really after, Chance? She snaps. You want Summer, but you can't handle the baggage that comes with her. You don't deserve her. The scene is ugly. Sharon tries to intervene. Summer arrives midway through and hears the tail end of her mother's tirade. She's mortified. She storms off. And just like that, the fragile trust she was building with Chance shatters. The meltdown, coming apart at the seams. Phyllis, now alienated from nearly everyone, begins to spiral. She starts showing up unannounced, saying things that don't quite add up. She's jumpy, paranoid. It's clear that whatever scheme she's mixed up in isn't just personal, it's dangerous. Daniel tries to stage an intervention, but Phyllis lashes out. You think you're better than me? You think you haven't made mistakes? She screams. At least I never abandoned my family. He walks out, and this time, he might not come back. Even Michael Baldwin, who has been one of Phyllis's few consistent defenders, tells Lauren he's worried. She's slipping, he confides. This isn't just Phyllis being dramatic. This is different. The crescendo comes when Phyllis storms into society during a Newman family dinner and accuses Diane of orchestrating a plot against her, complete with falsified evidence, old texts, and a mysterious flash drive she slams on the table like it's a smoking gun. But the flash drive, empty. Phyllis's face crumples in real time as she realizes she's been played, or maybe, that she's lost touch with reality altogether. Nick tries to help her. Sharon reaches out. Even Jack, who has every reason to hate her, looks on with pity. But Phyllis won't have it. She screams, loud enough to silence the room. They all think I'm crazy. But I see what's going on. They want to erase me, but I won't disappear. I won't be forgotten. She flees the restaurant. The fallout. Ashes and opportunities. In the days that follow, Genoa City buzzes with speculation. Rumors swirl that Phyllis may check herself into a wellness facility. Others say she's left town. But Summer and Daniel both receive cryptic voicemails, full of apologies and unfinished thoughts. Nick, feeling the guilt of 1,000 unsaid words, finally confesses to Sharon that Phyllis kissed him. Just once. But it was enough. Sharon, disappointed but unsurprised, tells him she needs space. Chance, meanwhile, tells Summer he still wants to be there for her, but only if she can put up boundaries with her mother. Summer, emotionally exhausted, doesn't know if she can. And Phyllis, she's last seen driving out of Genoa City, alone, with nothing but a suitcase, a burner phone, and her trademark red lipstick smeared at the corners. Epilogue. The Phoenix Theory. If we know anything about Phyllis Summers, it's this: she burns, yes. But she also rises. This meltdown may leave two relationships in ruins. It may scatter the fragile alliances she's built. But Phyllis never disappears for long. She'll be back, sharper, smarter, and maybe more dangerous than ever. Because when Phyllis falls, she doesn't just crash. She detonates. And somewhere, just beyond the horizon, she's already plotting her next move. Would you like a recap version formatted like an article for a fan blog or soap magazine? Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.